My gallbladder got rocks in it, a stranger removed it from my body, then I played Fire Emblem Three Houses while on strong pain medication. That game was super fun. I adore the cast of characters, and they're back in Three Hopes. As for tactical gameplay, tea times, class changes, and the story, are those back too? You bet that they are, kind of, sort of in a way, coming back. Fire Emblem Warriors Three Hopes is one of those magical games that has two-player split screen for basically the whole game, which is the exact reason that I got it at launch. Make it past Chapter 4, and you can play co-op for the rest of the entire game, which my friend and I did. Here's how it went. The Switch ran the game very smoothly frame rate wise. The trade-off is that the draw distance of enemies is pitiful, and they themselves move around at a very low frame rate. You need to run right up next to an outpost to even get them to spawn. Groups of enemies are relatively small, making the battlefield seem a bit empty at times. We were still able to meet required amount of kills, all under a specific time limit, to get S ranks on every single mission though. Before each mission, we saw the objective, our time, target kill count, and where important areas were. We swapped our classes and all of our units to best fit the current mission, and took 2 units each. We partnered them up to switch on the fly, or sent them in different directions depending on where they had the best advantage. We paused very frequently, pointed at the screen, kinda John Madden style, and made a game plan for every mission. When sending units to an objective, we kept an eye on the success rate too, because if you send someone in and they die, they're dead for realsies forever. The hack and slash action here is very accommodating to players of all skill levels. Breeze on by button mashing, looking as cool as possible, or make use of specific attacks and abilities to exploit enemy weaknesses. There's an option to turn on permadeath, which we did. It made us play safer, making sure to keep a closer eye on weapon advantages, uncontrollable allied units, and the success rate when sending someone to attack. The movesets are very simple, but also have a wide variety of heavy attacks. Light attacks can be followed up by heavy attacks, and depending on how many light attacks you did before the heavy attack, that move changes. This is simple and can be mindless, or you can get some neat tech out of it, like using the heavy attack with the arrows, and then using a special move to show the shield above the enemy, and start using light attacks while the heavy attack is still hitting them. And since that lasts for a few seconds, you can destroy the shield a lot faster than you should normally be able to. Characters can roll and block attacks. When you give me a roll, and I have no idea if it has iframes or not, I 1000% of the time am just gonna roll like a maniac. I will not block. That's on me. Some units have special activated abilities like Bernadetta's local time stop, Lysithea pulling in enemies affected by dark magic, and the main character having the Shadow Step teleport. Different classes also have special mechanics or meters that change the way to best play them. A lot of weapon variety is available too, with special properties from a simple attack boost to swapping magic and strength stats. This made everyone feel unique despite the relatively simple gameplay. Both players can switch to different characters at any time and pause to issue orders to attack, defend, or pair up with other units. Depending on individual character upgrades, weapons, and abilities, everyone will have different areas they excel at. The strategic element of stopping the game to change the plan really adds a lot of thought and fun to the standard hack and slash formula. During missions, side objectives will pop up, and even the main objective can change. Recruitable enemies can appear, or a new ally will need to be escorted across the battlefield. As new objectives arose, the game prompted us to pause and issue new orders, which we did almost every single time. Each character has a super move by expending a warrior gauge to deal major damage in a large area. We used this mostly to take out forts quickly. There is also an awakening gauge that can be used to survive lethal hits, show stun gauge even when at disadvantage, increase adjutant attack frequency, and get rewards for increased kills. You can't change to a different unit when awakened or doing a warrior special. If you are in awakening mode and need to switch characters to tackle an objective across the map, then you can stop the awakening and retain the meter you have left over for later, or end awakening mode early by pressing A to use the warrior special that depletes awakening gauge to 0, but it doesn't use any warrior gauge. Enemies in this game also appear as giant monster battles. Each boss monster has a specific weakness listed under their health bar. Doing enough damage of the specified type will cause a stagger and take out one of their health bars. Their attacks were well telegraphed with big red highlights on the ground that gave ample time to dodge out of the way. The boss monsters brought in much appreciated variety into the combat. Toward the end of the game, we had a couple characters so strong, they could take out the monsters by stacking special moves without having a weapon or element advantage at all. A giant portion of the game is done at the camp, and that was a bit overwhelming at first. A quick example of my confusion is I thought paralog missions could not be retried, so if you wanted an extra reward for S-ranking the mission, you had to save before going in. It turns out the camp is just so full of people and things to do that I missed you can retry missions. I only realized this at the end of the game when the camp is inaccessible because of the story. The camp menus are literally just menus. You don't have to run around and talk to everyone. It's just a big stack of menus, and I saw right there you could retry missions, and I was like, oh no. Has that always been there? And it always was there. So oops. I'm totally to blame for not noticing that you can retry missions, but also the camp is messy, and it's a lot to keep up with. So let's get into that. Between missions, you can explore the camp to improve characters in a variety of ways. Specific activities take away a time point in the camp, so you have to pick what to focus on. As the story progresses, the camp gets more packed with shops to upgrade. The blacksmith upgrades weapons, trainer levels characters and unlocks new classes, battalions can be hired, cooking gives buffs until the end of the chapter, doing chores, giving gifts, and going on expeditions will increase affections between characters so they can unlock support conversations. It's a lot, I know, it really is. It's a good thing that the time gauge unit thing only refills completely at the end of each chapter. If not, you'd be stuck in an endless loop of optimizing and upgrading and cooking and cleaning. Yeah. We also upgraded shops and bought materials to upgrade the camp until near the end of the game. After experimenting, we sped through the camp segments and were efficient enough to stomp on any upcoming missions. It got really crazy at the end. Camp upgrades can branch into a lot of different things, so it just depends on what you want to focus on. It's possible to get everyone more health restoring items or more super meters, more effective training with swords, bows, axes. Don't worry too much about what you pick, because we maxed out our camp toward the end of the game. Before the final boss, all of our favorite characters were completely stacked, maxed out, and ready to beat the fuck. We picked out our favorite units and leveled their classes. Each time they mastered a class, we put them into a new one. Then our favorites could have great coverage for any situation, even before we started recruiting new units. The way we played, doing every side objective and bonus mission, gave us a lot of resources. We were buying every item we thought was important, to the point of them being sold out every single chapter. The tea times also make a return from 3 houses in the form of expeditions. I never really liked them before because all the answers felt kinda arbitrary. I would always just press the home button and look online, because it feels like sometimes the characters want you to agree with them or want you to directly oppose what they're saying for a positive result. Maybe I'm just dumb, but I wasn't able to get good, perfect tea times as much as I wanted. Even after units are at max support level with Shez, you can still do stuff around the camp with them to raise their morale, and that will increase their damage dealt for this chapter. After understanding the camp better, we would cook to gain perks at the start of every chapter. The perks we always went back to were faster accumulation of super meters, as well as starting with them mostly filled, as well as greatly reducing how fast weapon durability will degrade with special attacks. These buffs last until the final mission of the chapter, so all the side missions and paralog quests also got easier. Using the warrior special made taking enemy forts super fast. In fact, the game stops counting toward your mission time when using a super move. So if you stock up supers and stagger them with a co-op partner, you can take 4 bases in 0 seconds. That really helped us get S ranks on every mission by saving time and racking up kills too. I feel the best way to explain the camp is with an example of what late game shenanigans we got into. We got to a point where we had around 400,000 gold, but very little smithing stones to upgrade weapons. Since it was not possible to buy the smithing stones, we instead purchased hundreds of iron swords, which were the cheapest and had the best conversion rate into smithing stones when we turned them into the supplies person at the camp. So that took a long time, but we got plus marks on some weapons that went so crazy. Lysithea was running with the speed of a mounted unit, killing everyone in 2 light attacks due to her weapon calculating damage with a magic stat instead of strength, and having abilities that increase magic based on other stats, as well as dumping gold items that permanently increase magic into her. It was really funny to watch and highly satisfying to feel like we broke the game through the given upgrade systems. If playing with permadeath on, some units may get left behind in levels, and then not taken on a mission because they're low level, and then disregarded again for their low level, and then disregarded for the remainder of the story because they just fell behind and you don't want them to die. I greatly appreciate the option of using gold to train them and gain levels for any unit. So even if you leave a character at level 1 and you want to use them at the end of the game, you can still catch them up in level. It'll cost a pretty penny, but the option's there. And this is a Fire Emblem game, so we have support conversations. They end up being a nice little distraction, but it was disappointing to see that some characters can't reach A rank with each other. And not all rank increases have a conversation to be viewed. If not all ranks have a support conversation, then why limit some ranks to stop at C? It seemed to me a little pointless to limit on who can and cannot play most optimally when partnered up. If they're not gonna talk, why not just get them all the way to A rank? Why do they have to be capped out at C? If they don't talk at C, then they don't have to talk at B or A either. They could just get to A rank and never talk, and then they'll still be optimal to pair up together. More damage and whatnot. This is subjective, of course, but a bit too many of the support conversations are really nothing too interesting. We also did a lot of support conversations in big chunks, and there was some crazy emotional whiplash from Dimitri burying the dead villagers brought about by his war strategy, immediately into Annette singing a funny song about a horse with a human face. That's just kinda what you get. Shez and Arvel only go to C rank support. I'm upset about this. Arvel is a secret character that you can unlock after you beat the game, which is cool. I mean, I like that. And I can understand that not every combination of characters has something interesting to talk about. But the main character and the super-powered alien voice in his head don't have anything to say to each other? Really? Nothing? I mean, they've been into some, hijinks, I would say. Some straight-up shenanigans. They're both like the main character. If you don't want to bar main characters talking behind beating the game once, then, not everyone's gonna play New Game Plus. That's okay. You could just put like a funny joke conversation, like a joke support. Say like Shez says, "Hey Arvel, do you like blueberry pie?" And then Arvel's like, "No, I don't know what that is. I'm an alien ghost." And then Shez is like, "Here, I'll make you some." And then he eats it and he's like, "Damn." Also, Byleth and Sothis don't have a support conversation together. I'm just gonna say that's a missed opportunity. Let's talk about the story. This is not totally a sequel or prequel, but a different story with the same characters from Three Houses. I thought it would have been set during the time skip from Three Houses, but it is not. The Ash and Wolves students from the DLC also appear in Three Hopes. My co-op partner and I both played Three Houses, and we kept seeing more and more character stories which were similar to Three Houses, but in a seemingly alternate universe where Byleth never became an instructor and stays a mercenary with her dad instead. Shez is the main character here, instead of Byleth. But they are both still very important to the story. Shez is so important, in fact, that he has his own mysterious voice in his head, just like Byleth.
At any rate, we all make a few mistakes along the way. And by we, I mean you. And by a few, I mean far, far more than average.
Yeah, he's like that. At any rate, this game is a lot of fun, and if both players are already into the Fire Emblem Three Houses characters, then the story is going to be an even better experience. Some characters may seem one note, like Raphael is the big workout guy, or Marianne is the big depression guy. But getting to see more conversations flesh out their backgrounds and feelings, it was enough to say that they're not total 2D cardboard nothing people, but they're actually occasionally relatable and slightly realish people with slightly realish problems.
The lesson here is that when you two are supposed to do something together, actually do it together.
Lysithea, for example, starts out as she's a little quirky, I guess, annoying, saying, I'm not a kid, don't treat me like a kid, even though I'm very clearly young. After saying that over and over, she has a serious moment talking about how she had to grow up fast because she will have a significantly shorter lifespan due to experiments done on her by Solon. She wants to kill him to ensure he can't do that to anyone else, and that hit really hard and made it more serious for sure. She was more than a flat one-note character after that, but she kept doing the I'm not a kid thing. It's kind of like they only have so many voice lines, right, and they repeat them a lot.
Big Father,
Take a breather.
we need to defeat the enemy and secure a path forward.
I'm not a child. No time to
That's
slow
Yuri!
down.
Hold on! Let me try and talk some sense into her.
I'm not a child. No time to slow down. I'm not.
Missions are usually kill 500 guys and take over forts, but they'll have a story reason for killing 500 guys and taking over a fort. And so a lot of them get a bit strange, like saving opera singers as a main mission was weird, but the worst part was that it didn't tell us to bring a healer because it was very necessary to keep Dorothy from dying to poison as she runs all the way across the map, and sometimes her AI is a little dumb and she'll just decide to stop or get into a fight when she could just keep running as she's taking damage over time, and then I didn't heal her, and then she dies, and then we have to redo the mission, So she runs into an unnecessary fight, or she'll just stand around until she decides she wants to run again, and then she dies right in front of where she's supposed to go, and then we restart it, and yeah. Weird objective, slightly annoying, but it wasn't a big deal. We got it after a little bit. I like the story for what it was. There weren't too many moments that wowed me, but I've been keeping up with the character relationships and the main battle motivations, and they work to keep the game moving along without being super interesting. I was more happy to do the paralogue quests since the stories were very personal and involved in specific characters that were mandatory to take on their individual missions. The paralogue quest did a good job of fleshing out related characters and made us get a better understanding of any units that we had kind of, left behind level-wise, and then we kind of saw a different side of them, or any side of them at all, just by using them for the first time, right? Now, for a few issues we had with the game. Some characters are not playable or recruitable at all when playing specific houses. This does mix up each playthrough, but I'd like to play my favorites, especially if we already put a lot of time and stats into them. It's sometimes hard to see enemies when a split-screen player is on a wyvern or on a horse. The camera just kind of has a weird angle there. We were frequently looking stuff up and using guides online. This is the perfect game to have had a hardcover, giant-ass Bible of a strategy guide released alongside it. But we're beyond those years. It's all online now. There were also some quest rewards that were like, hey, thanks for helping out the village. Now pick one of these rewards with no description of either of them. So, No way I wouldn't think of what could have been for the next 30 minutes by picking blindly, so I looked up what all the rewards actually were, just to make sure I got what I actually wanted. Guide would have helped there. Also, there were straight up secret abilities by mastering specific non-recommended classes for every character we found out about accidentally when browsing abilities and class guides on an online guide. What the fuck? I mean, there's so much stuff here. I mean, it's not even all explained very efficiently, and, you know, like I said, I didn't even know you could replay missions till, like, the end of the game. So, in a way, the internet and a bunch of different websites is the ultimate guide, but in my heart, the ultimate guide would have been a really sick, awesome physical one. It's a bit of a boomery tangent there, but back to stuff to improve. If you could unlock a new class right from the convoy, that would streamline things a bit. This is going to sound a little bit confusing, but bear with me. I had to deal with these menus and systems for, 70 whatever hours. Being able to unlock a new class via the training class section would have been great too. If you select to train a class that the unit has not unlocked yet, please hit me with the "Do you want to unlock this class right now?" by using this mastery scroll. I will say yes if I meant to click that, and I will say oops and then press no if I didn't. I don't want to back out and go to different menus to do all that. I'll like that a lot more because I don't have to back out of that menu and then go to the unlock class menu and then go back to training as the wrong class by accident, and that's just because I forgot to change it on the training menu as well as the unlock new class menu. It's not perfectly optimized there, and they could have a little bit more streamlining just with like a couple updates. That'd be great. When cooking food, it would be better to specify how much benefit you're getting percentage-wise. Like warrior gauge refills twice as fast, or start with awakening gauge 60% filled. Instead, the game says somewhat fills the gauge, or greatly fills the gauge, or moderately increases weapon durability. I don't know what moderate weapon durability increase is. Please just give me a percentage or a number. That would be sick. Thank you. Why? Why are you gonna do slightly, moderately, greatly, significantly? I get which one is more, but like, just give me a number. Thank you, please and thank you. I appreciate all the optional challenges on the missions for extra rewards, but one of them caught me off guard. The challenge was to play the mission in single player mode. So I put my controller down, and my friend just did the mission on his own. It was kind of a weird challenge, but we were freaking out at all the stuff we noticed that wasn't seen in split screen mode. In single player mode, weapon durability is displayed on the bottom right, dramatic cut-ins of the characters pop up for warrior gauge and guard breaking attacks with seemingly intentional slowdown during heavy hits, and most importantly, skills appear on screen as they activate. Seeing the skills proc in single player helped remind us how often some skills are used compared to others. And that data is important when you can only equip a limited number of skills at a time and have a giant, huge, insane list of skills you got from unlocking and mastering all the classes. Also, it's kind of a dumb thing, but whenever you're in camp, you can teleport to a specific character to go talk to them. So you teleport to them, and then they're not spawned in yet. Give me a black screen for like 1 more second so you can spawn in the character. That's just weird. Like I'm all ready to run around and find the person. I'll turn the camera and start running in the wrong direction or run right past them. And I mean, it was kind of funny. They were right in front of me, but they just weren't spawned in yet. So I just had to wait like 1.5 seconds. But, you know, I get confused and turned around because I'm a dummy. I don't see the person immediately there, and I'm gonna fucking run away. I'm like, the game must be mistaken, because I couldn't be. After that chunk of stuff that could use improvements, here are some little touches that I thought were awesome. Difficulty can be changed at any time. You're not locked into whatever difficulty you select at the start of a new game. Certain characters had special dialogue when fighting or doing chores together.
You've done your big brother proud.
It just happened to go well. Stop giving me so much credit.
The camp upgrades actually visually upgrade the buildings around you. Amiibos can be scanned in for random items, and the title screen changes after beating each house's story. When training, you can select which units to watch. This will change the dialogue and show a cutscene depending on the characters and their classes. Cool little stuff. They didn't have to throw it in, but they did. Neat. Thank you. Animated cutscenes look great.
All this bloodshed. Will it never come to an end?
A lot of talking happens in a visual novel style, where everyone is bunched around and talking about plans and war and further story context. Some of them look a bit dopey, staring off into the distance. They're just kind of chilling in the back of the crowd, not saying anything. 1,000-yard stare. So that's kind of weird. But other than that, I mean, it's all good. Individual units can change outfits at camp and in battle. There's an animation that is very overused of the character leaning in and pulling both their fists down. This is kind of nitpicky, I know. I feel like I'm going insane every time I see it. I'm pretty sure it was in 3 Houses also, and I don't want to see it anymore. Next thing, Milan. This guy looks like a buff Chucky from Child's Play. I just thought I should say that. It's not really a good or bad thing. This soundtrack goes super hard. The remixes to 3 Houses are kind of like amped up here because it's more of an action game. The good songs before are like super duper good songs now.
So I'm editing the video right now, and I just noticed the music changes when shifting from map to combat. That's the same as the recent Fire Emblem turn-based games, and this is actually super cool. I really like this a lot. Bonus points.
Also, this is a game I recommend you dig through menus and find the tutorials because those go crazy. Class tutorials show video clips of what combos and special moves look like, as well as comprehensive explanations of their strengths, weaknesses, class gauge abilities, specific special meters or any stocked charges you need to keep track of, and all that stuff. The tutorials are a beautiful thing here. Learn how to play, and if you already know how to play, pop in and learn something new. Status effects, camp facilities, leveling up, character-specific abilities. This really just has it all, and I'm happy to see the amount of care put in. After beating Claude's story, we unlocked the hardest difficulty, Maddening. Dimitri gets a different story, including an early beheading of his uncle, very sad, and I don't think Dimitri ever trips and hits his eye on like a coffee table or something, but I didn't finish that story, so maybe he does get the eye patch that way? Let me know in the comments if that's how he gets the eye patch. I don't think that's the way, but that would be kinda sick. When starting the second story, we chose to import character levels from our first run. This is a pseudo kinda New Game Plus experience, because new units are all level 1, while other units retain their previous data. The Ashen Wolves students will appear in all the campaigns, so it's important that you level them up if you want to carry them over to harder difficulty runs. The Renown Shop allows special unlocks in New Game Plus, like characters, weapons, and the Vanguard Whistle that straight up skips missions for you. We went straight for the top shelf prizes and just unlocked the new characters. Rhea, Sothis, and Arvel start at level 50, perfect for New Game Plus. On Maddening difficulty, enemies are level 105 near the start of the game, and it would have been really cool to go in with the newly unlocked characters, but you just can't. Apparently, they can only go on missions you've already completed, which sucks because we wanted to do the other story mode with the cool new characters we spent all of our points on. I also don't really want to replay missions with the game being as long as it is. I think giving players more choice with how they play, especially when they've already started a New Game Plus, is better for any type of player. Luckily, on the first story, we did every side mission, got all S ranks, scanned amiibos frequently, and upgraded relic weapons too. This gave us plenty of extra money to level up a couple of level 1s to level 45, and give them XP gems so they can catch up and stand a chance on Maddening. It was actually really engaging when we were genuinely at risk of having a character die, instead of the late game stomping we were doing on normal mode. That was fun too, but this is a different type of fun. Fun like, if I get hit twice, I die forever, so I should concentrate on what I'm doing type of fun. And the New Game Plus is going great. We're gonna get back to it one day, but I think we're good for now. I've been working on this video since before the game even came out, and when I played the demo, I liked it enough then, and it only got better during the full game. It's been really fun, and we still have 1.5 more campaigns to go through. Probably worth the price, especially if you can get it on sale. It's a really fun game, and if you have someone willing to go through the whole, 70 fat hours of a single campaign with you, do it. It's fun. You're gonna enjoy yourself. Thank you. That's the end of the video. I don't know how long this is going to be. Probably over a half hour. I hope it's not, but I think it will be. Thank you for watching. I have no idea what I'm going to do next. Oh my god, what do I do after I finish this video?